Hi, I'm Carrie Holmes, and I am the Program Manager for the Central Valley Water Board's Compliance and Enforcement Program. The Compliance and Enforcement Program is responsible for protecting water quality and regulating facilities which have the potential to pollute water and enforces state and federal laws and policies. There are 57 PYs across all three offices, 14 in Fresno, 12 in Redding, and 31 in Sacramento. These resource allocations do not include the underground storage tank or site cleanup programs. Program staff ensure compliance with waste discharge requirements and other orders issued by the water boards, document and track violations of the requirements in various databases, and are available to answer questions to the public and dischargers regarding those requirements. Where violations occur, staff are responsible for taking swift and fair enforcement actions. To do this, staff must conduct inspections, respond to complaints, identify sites requiring a permit, provide technical and regulatory oversight, issue enforcement actions consistent with the current 2017 enforcement policy to ensure compliance and protection of human health, the environment, and water quality. Staff practice what is known as progressive enforcement, which is an escalating series of actions to first assist cooperative dischargers in achieving compliance, second, to compel compliance for repeat violations and recalcitrant violators, and third, provide a disincentive for noncompliance. Enforcement staff will engage in the process described in the enforcement policy and exercise its discretion to determine which steps to take so limited resources are used efficiently to prioritize enforcement. When violations occur and enforcement actions are necessary, program staff practice progressive enforcement. Typically, as the enforcement action becomes more severe or serious in nature, staff spend considerably more time issuing formal enforcement actions. Informal enforcement actions include oral and written communication, as well as notices of violation. As the severity of the violation or threat to beneficial uses increases, formal actions such as notices of stormwater noncompliance, investigative orders, time schedule orders, cleanup and abatement orders, cease and desist orders, and administrative civil liabilities are issued. There are instances in which progressive enforcement is not appropriate. Almost half of the administrative civil liabilities are issued for mandatory minimum penalty assessments for MPDS, or surface water discharge, wastewater violations. For mandatory minimum penalties, the Regional Board must assess an ACL for the mandatory minimum amount of $3,000 per violation, or for a greater amount depending on the number of violations. Serious violations are assessed for a greater than 40% exceedance of effluent limitations for Group 1 pollutants, such as biological oxygen demand, solids, and nutrients, or a greater than 20% exceedance of effluent limitations for Group 2 pollutants, such as inorganics, organics, and metals. In addition, a $3,000 MMP will be assessed if a monitoring report is submitted more than 30 days late. Non-serious violations are all other exceedances. In essence, there is no discretion on the part of board staff whether to issue these ACLs or not. Therefore, the progressive enforcement process is not utilized in these cases. During the 2022-2023 fiscal year, staff issued approximately 866 enforcement actions and performed 1,596 inspections under 7 programs. In addition, 241 complaints were received and approximately 218 were responded to by staff. The atmospheric rivers that impacted the Central Valley during the winter of 2022 and 2023 increased responses needed by compliance and enforcement team members. Multiple visits were conducted to sites inundated by stormwater, such as agricultural lands as seen in the photo of this flooded almond orchard in Butte County. and the reappearance of the Tulare Lake, which impacted multiple regulated facilities, including multiple dairies. Additionally, many wastewater treatment facilities were overwhelmed by large volumes and infiltration and inflow into aging sewer collection systems. Another accomplishment which occurred this past year is the successful cooperative effort between the Central Valley Regional Board and EPA. The Industrial Stormwater Non-Filer Initiative was conducted to identify industries in the environmental justice and disadvantaged communities of Stockton, Modesto, and Sacramento that did not have coverage under the Industrial Stormwater General Permit. These communities have faced disparities in protection of their environment in the past, and this effort will result in greater protection of environmental justice communities' water quality. 14 non-filers were identified, 4 came into compliance immediately, and 10 received second notices. The remaining facilities in non-compliance will likely face administrative civil liabilities if continued non-compliance occurs. Thank you for listening to me talk a little bit about the Compliance and Enforcement Program and accomplishments of the Central Valley Water Board's enforcement team.